Hey guys, I want to make this video to give you a few tips about buying your first electric guitar. Now a lot of these things are going to be interchangeable between different types of guitar, but there's a few specific things for electric guitar, so hence the video. So in my opinion at least, the most important part of a guitar is the parts that make contact with the strings, or the bits of the strings that actually make the sound. So the strings are strung up between the tuners and the bridge, and between the bridge and the nut is where the sound actually comes from. So if you look at this nut, for example, it looks quite clean, solid, no cracks or anything like that. That is what you want in a nut, because if it's got cracks or if it's got broken parts, it won't work properly. It might sound bad, you know. So it can be replaced or fixed, but you don't really want to deal with that as a beginner. Now while we're up here, tuners. I've played a lot of cheap guitars, and although people say you have to replace tuners on cheap guitars to make them worth playing, it's not really true. As long as you properly stretch your strings when you're restringing a guitar, that is the most important thing for tuning stability. You don't really need to worry too much about cheap tuners, because they will work. As long as you make sure you stretch the strings properly like this, you know, really pull them out as you change the strings. Make sure that they hold tune before you play the guitar properly. Now for the bridge has adjustable parts. So you've got screws down here, more screws here that can be adjusted with an Allen key or a hex key if you're American. And that basically allows you to set the action and the intonation for the guitar. Now, as long as these screws are actually adjustable and they're not rusted or broken or anything like that, you know, check the heads to make sure that you can actually fit a screwdriver in there. It should be fine to be adjustable. So as long as that's solid, should be alright. Now another thing, neck is very, very important to a guitar. So what you want to do is hold the guitar up like this, look down the neck. If it looks straight, that's a good sign. If it's bending slightly, if it's more forward here than it is here, then that is normally okay, but not that good. And if it has a bump at the end here, so that it looks straight then rises up at the end, don't bother. I've had guitars that are like that, and they're playable with high action or for slide or something like that, but they're not really fixable. Well, they are fixable, but they're not really worth fixing a lot of the time. You'd have to replace the whole neck basically, or get like a professional woodworker to properly level it down again, replace the frets. Too much hassle. Now body shape and stuff like that isn't really very important. You can just go for what you like, what's comfortable, as long as it fits your body well, as long as you like the look of it, everything else doesn't really matter. Go for whatever colour you want, whatever shape you want. Another thing about the neck is the frets. So when you test this guitar out, make sure you play every note on the neck and so on, just up the whole neck on every string to make sure there's no dead frets, buzzing, weird noises or anything like that. Because you don't want to get it home, try and play a song and realise, oh yeah, actually that fret doesn't work. You know, it's too low or it's buzzing and it sounds bad, you need to get it fixed. So make sure you test it before you buy it. For electronics, you normally have a few controls here. Pickup, selector, volume and tone. Probably some more on other types of guitars as well. So when you test it out, turn them, make sure you test them on every setting. Check for buzzing and things like that. Even though buzzing and weird noises and crackling can be fixed relatively easily with this contact cleaner, you still want to make a note of it and probably tell the people in the shop, because you can use it as leverage to get some money off a lot of the time. So keep that in mind. Now as far as styles of guitar go, I personally really like Telecasters because they're simple, utilitarian, that's things I like. There's not really any moving parts to go wrong. And this is why I think the Telecasters are a good choice, especially for a beginner player, or someone who doesn't want to mess around with too many frivolous, superfluous things on a guitar. However, probably the most popular choice is something like this, which is a Strat style guitar. It's got a few extra things on it that Telecaster doesn't have, especially this. This is a whammy bar, tremolo bar, whatever you want to call it. When you push it down and pull it up, it makes the bridge move up and down as well, and it affects the tuning stability of the guitar. So you can make cool sounds with it. However, for a beginner, I would say it's probably not worth having, because you're going to spend more time tuning the guitar than you are playing it. Now, just a couple of final things. I would say that buying a guitar second hand is probably preferable to buying one brand new, because they're a lot cheaper. You get more choice of stuff. There's a lot of lines that were discontinued that are really good that you can't buy brand new anymore. You can find them online in different shops. You know, there's a lot of people that buy a guitar, want to learn it, and then just end up selling it. So you can get some bargains out there, as long as you actually make sure you test it out. That's the most important thing. Finally, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Especially if it's being sold by someone who seems a bit shady. You know, like if you see a listing online, someone with not a lot of information on their profile on Marketplace or whatever, maybe don't trust it, because there's a lot of people that want to rip you off out there. And this goes both ways too. So if you see someone selling something for extremely cheap and they clearly don't know the value of it and it's worth a lot more, maybe tell them, because it's a bit of a dick move to rip someone off intentionally, even if they're offering themselves to be ripped off. You know, it's your duty as a human to make sure that doesn't happen, I'd say. So yeah, look secondhand, test stuff out, make a note of the things that I told you, and yeah, have fun.